Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are minions Sora Luna.
Hello.
Serenity Star 13.
Hello.
And SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
So, starting with the last, how was your day, Skep? Or basically, how have you been since last Tuesday?
Busy. Lots of little projects around the house, and just watching in horrified horror the Biden thing unfolding. That's just exposing an amazing level of corruption, and it looks like it's gonna get very visible. So that's the thing I've been keeping an eye on.
Yeah,
in the news.
Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah. This is fine. The stuff I've been doing around here, it can take fixing a weed eater can take a lot of your day.
Well, I hope you're not slacking off on your stringed instrument practice.
Oh, no, not at all. Although I did kind of slack off today. I only practiced for about an hour, but I've been routinely playing 2-3 hours a day.
Good. Excellent.
Which is about all I can tolerate.
God, did I accomplish anything today? I know I must have. It seems fairly inevitable. I must have accomplished something today, but for the life of me, I made it home, started the show. Yeah. Yay me. I did do some stuff. I left some work at home. Basically, I took some work home. I had these 4 servers I've been working on, and I wanted remote access, but I didn't have time to set up the VPN correctly and all this sort of nonsense. So I just took a Raspberry Pi and associated it with the public address on my AT&T fiber connection. And I set the firewall up, and so the only thing that can come through is SSH with certificate-based authentication. That's the only thing that can get through. Okay.
All right.
And it's running, of all things, Ubuntu 22 server on a Raspberry Pi, on a thing that's the size of a playing card. I've got like a full-blown server OS running with like all the firewall and stuff. It's great. I've been able to get in and port forward and do all my work and send IPMI commands to the things. And it was actually kind of like, man, this thing cost me $100 and it's solving so many problems. It doesn't have to have a lot of performance. It's great.
I was going to say I wouldn't load test it. But
Well, it's not doing anything other than managing my SSH connections and port forwarding.
I realize that.
You got one job.
Perfect.
You got one job.
And it's an easy job that it's perfectly capable of doing, but it's kind of an elegant solution. I really like that.
Yeah, well, I'll set up a proper VPN in my copious free time.
Right.
Hi, Serenity.
Right.
Hello.
How have you been?
I am good. Can you read private chat, please?
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyway, I've been good.
I have no
Animals have
issue
been
with
good.
that. Okay, cool. I'll take care of
stop.
that. Talk about stuff.
Oh, okay.
Animals have been good. So far, no one has shown hoof and mouth anywhere, so we're good there.
Woohoo!
A nice lady came to my door the other day looking for her kitten, and I said, "Well, we have 5,000 barn cats. None of them match that description, but I'm sure if one of them finds it, they'll bring it here, and I'll call you if I do." And she's like, "Thank you." I'm like, "If anyone's gonna find it, one of the barn cats are gonna find it." So it's like, "Don't worry, I'll give you a phone call." So that was nice. But apparently, it was a kitten, like it wasn't a cat, and it's gray with a white on its chest, which is a pretty common coloration.
Wow.
And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But if they're going to show up, they're going to show up here. They all talk to each other.
No.
So I have a friend who contacted me because, I'm famous now for my rat killing knowledge. And my friend has a fig tree, and he keeps noticing that
So he actually gives a fig?
Yes, that he had like 5 rats in his fig tree.
Yeah.
And
Fig trees do that a lot, yeah.
And wanted to know how to deal with them. And so I gave some advice, and it's like the trap I suggested it's as humane as such things go, right?
Yeah.
It basically zaps the thing and it's over.
Yeah.
And it's a good trap because smart rats don't outsmart it too readily.
No.
But it only kills one at a time. So it's kind of like, this morning I get a note. Okay, was 5, now 4. And I'm hoping that it's just going to be down 1 rat each night. Stupid rats. God, I don't like rats. I really don't like rats.
Well, it's like the few fruit trees we have on my property are nowhere near the house. Because because almost all of them will attract rats. Persimmons and fig trees are kind of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But the barn where all the barn cats live is in between the house and where the trees are. So they usually run into the barn cats whenever they try to go into the house. We've had a couple mice issues, but once again, the cats got those pretty quickly. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We just we go the nature humane way of killing the
Serenity, do you
variety.
have wild plum up there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a lot of it.
They dig the wild plum down here.
Oh yeah. They really like the persimmon trees too. Like it's weird. Like if you're not paying attention, you look up in the tree, you think it's a squirrel.
Yeah.
And then you'll go, "Wait a damn minute." And look back up and go, "You son of a bitch."
Serenity.
I've shot them before out of trees. I have no problem killing a rat out of a tree.
The rodent without the cute tail.
Serenity.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you send the link to Mr. Gunn, please? Because I'm being incompetent and I can't seem to find a way to do it.
Oh, I'll do it. No worries.
Thank you.
No worries. I'll take care of it.
I am not good at this level of multitasking. Okay.
You're good.
All right. So that leaves Sora Luna.
Hello.
Howdy.
Hi.
So how's it going?
Very good. I had a couple of fun weeks. So last weekend I saw Aqua, as in the Barbie girl band that filled the childhood niche inside my heart. It was fantastic. It was such a good show. It was amazing. And then last night I saw Jason Derulo, which was a completely different part of
your childhood
lifetime.
Yeah.
And that was a really good show. So, and now the fair is done. Well, it will be this weekend. So.
Oh, you will have a music fair up there. That's the reason why.
They do what's called summer night music. So they'll bring every year. They bring a bunch of artists of varying fame and that kind of stuff. They had Nelly last year. I didn't get to go. I actually didn't know Nelly was coming because I didn't pay attention to the lineup last year, and I would have liked to go see him.
This actually looks like it's better set up than Coachella is, because Coachella looks like someone I'd want to stab.
Nelly's
it's
a dude?
excellent. So the amphitheater.
Yes, Nelly's a hip hop and rap.
Yeah.
I always assumed, I knew which genre it was. I always assumed Nelly was a chick.
Nope. Well, you're thinking
that's Nelly Furtado.
You're
I know
thinking
so
She's our
little.
local. She's from Victoria area.
know
I've
so
seen her
little.
twice. She's good live. But no, Nelly is in the American hip
Oh,
hop rap guy with the former Band-Aid on his face.
okay.
But no, the amphitheater where they play is really nicely set up, and they have like in the general admissions area. So there's a huge standing area, and then they have like bleachers. And then if you pay extra, you can sit down on the fold-out chairs, which of course people don't really. They still dance and jump.
Yeah.
For Aqua, I splurged for the more expensive tickets, so we had chairs because that made us near the front.
Mhm.
But for Jason, we did general admissions, and we still had like the best view because we got center right by the divider bar. I don't understand people who get complained like, "Oh, I never get to good places." The show starts at 8:30. Doors open. Doors. They open the gate.
Drops.
Right,
Rope
like
drops.
the ropey things at 7, but really you only need to get there by 8 o'clock
Mhm.
to get, and then you have the perfect view. People are just stupid. Yeah, and then afterwards, because the fair, so this is the PNE, this is what it is, the Pacific National Exhibition, I think
Yeah.
is what it stands for. So it's fairgrounds, it's playland, that's the rides and stuff, which I don't go on the rides, but then you have so much good food all around, and it's open until 11, and all the concerts end at 10. And there's no extra, there's no like encores or anything. They're very strict. So they end at 10. Fantastic. Everyone piles out and goes and eats. You have another hour to hang around, and then you get pushed out of
Kicked
the
out.
fair. It's great. I love it.
Awesome.
Kicked out. Ticket
And
prices don't actually look that bad either.
a wild
depends
spud gun
on-
appears. Spud gun appears.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Spud.
Just Bud.
There we go. Oh God, is no one having a mic?
Yeah, sorry, hi.
That's okay. I saw just an OBS symbol, and I'm like, okay, somebody's working on their virtual camera. Should I make him wait? Nah, just let him in. It's fine.
To be fair, yeah, I forgot to turn it off.
Um,
Sorry.
do you find the phrase when people say something about like across the pond to be as inane and irritating as I do? It's like a pet peeve of mine. They say, in referring to going to England is just hopping across the pond. That just seems no.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. It's a weird one. It depends how it's done. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, I've also heard it as a weird one as jump in the puddle,
Yeah.
which is quite nice, but it doesn't really bother me. As it's like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hopping across the pond.
But a lot of things bother me. See, that's the problem.
Oh, are you a cranky old man?
I'm not actually quite
Yes.
old enough to get away with it. That's the problem. So, for instance, okay, this is going to get me in trouble. A thing that I will judge people for. It's like, you can still be my friend, but I'm going to judge you. When I see somebody and they turn on their camera and they've got one of those gaming chairs, right? But they're doing something that isn't gaming, I think to myself, you're an adult. Buy yourself a proper stupid chair. Just,
Wow.
just why?
Wow.
Right.
Damn.
In my defense, I have one of those stupid gaming chairs. Okay, simply because it's comfy and it
I
was
was gonna say, what about it? What about the fact they're just comfortable?
That is relevant.
right,
Okay.
and the fact
just
that I
ain't
do
done.
play
Okay, I
games.
get it now. I see how.
Just a thought. I actually have a
Right.
whole list of things that I've
Is
written
that-
down for a segment at some point. Just it's things that I will judge you on. It's just like inane stuff that doesn't matter at all, but it's a whole list of things like that thing with the chair.
Yeah, Harry.
Yes, sir. Well, shall we get right into it?
As they say in the Bronx.
So this is very confusing to me, this whole thing about Greece. Are people aware of the fact that large sections of Greece seem to be on fire from wildfires right now?
Yeah. But I've gotten so used to Greece either flooding or burning at this point. It's kind of
No,
like
this is
California at this point.
this is a simple grease fire.
A simple grease fire, yeah.
Ba-dum-ching.
Maybe somebody
Yeah.
put water on it.
Ah!
Yes. But 79 people. Now, this is very weird. I hear about wildfires all the time, but I rarely hear about 79 people being arrested for arson in association with the wildfires, which makes me sort of go, come again?
Yeah,
Kind of makes me
really.
wonder if it was in
What?
retaliation for Greece sending the air armaments to Ukraine.
Well, I can tell you this. I did some reading. Now, there were 120 arrests, 79 of which were related to arson. And the area where the fire started is near, wait for it, a corridor where migrants tend to pass.
Ah, there's the other one. Okay.
So the implication is that much like homeless people in Los Angeles catch things on fire all the freaking time, sometimes accidentally, sometimes intentionally, it's possible that just as they were marching toward where the bread is through Greece, that they just caught the whole damn country on fire. But 79 is a lot of arson arrests. That's a lot of people committing arson, or the Greeks are casting a rather wide net in their investigations. I honestly don't know enough to really comment on it, other than the fact that I read up on it. And at the end of doing about, half hour's worth of reading, I didn't feel like I knew any more than when I started. Anybody have anything to add to this?
I wonder. Okay, this is a huge conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Here we go.
But
Oh boy.
it would
You mean spoiler?
spoiler. The way I see it, because of how devastating the fires are up here, we've been talking about this at work because we have nothing better to do, and with patients and all. But we're thinking, like, wouldn't it be convenient for like people like Stop Oil or whatever the eco-terrorism of the day is, group of the day is, to start setting some of those fires, and for something to get their point across.
Yes.
And then because we've had people kill animals in our aquarium and stuff before, allegedly, after there's animals end up dead days after there was some sort of protest, right? Things like that. And for Greece, right, it's what a great part of Greece to set fire to, because it takes eyes. Nobody's going to think it's you who's done it when you have your migrants there, and possible setting fire to forests due to camps for heat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
May I
just-
interject?
Oh,
Please.
Quickly.
Please.
Not so much conspiracy theory. There are clips going around the internet of people actually doing that.
Oh, great.
Okay, so spoiler.
Yeah, well, it would be advantageous to blame this on climate change, right? But it's
so I did, because I did a little sneaky snoop,
good.
and so the authorities have arrested 79 to 63 people on fire-related charges. 24 to 79 of them are for deliberate arson. So they've kind of universally like thrown a wide net to catch a little few of them, and then and where did it go? There have been several. The civil protection minister in Greece said there had been several attempts by arson to start new fires on Mount Parnithia, northwest of Athens. So this is migrants, but also intentional kind
Wow.
of thing. So this is what's being, and Mount Parnithia is considered a national park in Greece.
Yeah, honestly, I
So
don't know
it's-
much about the geography of Greece, other than one of my fancy friends has a huge place on Lanzarote. And I know about Thessaloniki, but other than that, I really just don't know much about
I have family
Greece.
there.
Yeah. Where? Thessaloniki?
Thessaloniki, yeah.
Okay, I didn't butcher
My
it too
mom's
badly then.
first cousin.
Okay.
Right.
There's a lot of, oh golly, this looks a lot like, oh boy, they're luckier than Maui was, because some of the pictures I'm seeing from the BBC, like most of the buildings in Greece are made of either some kind of stone or concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's
while
wild
it still
stones.
sucks, it's
Yeah.
not
I mean,
like it was in
they may
Maui
be
where it
gutted,
was
but they're
thick.
fixable. You know.
Okay, 20 people 20 people died. 19 of those were migrants. One of them was a shepherd.
To me, it sounds like
Poor guy.
it sounds like another like Portland thing where a turf war broke out, and
Maybe,
they're just like, "Fuck it, we're burning shit." At
maybe.
that point,
Well, this, I mean, for you, Spud Gun, this is basically a long weekend. You can just hop on a plane and go there still. I mean, you're not in the same Schengen zone, but it's easy for you to just go to these places, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's about 3 hours on a plane. Flying commercial.
It'd be like me going to Denver or or with the
Yeah.
lines going to Las Vegas, honestly. It's just not that big a deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Greece?
I've not. I've only travelled to. I've only ever been to France.
Yeah, I don't know. If I lived in the UK, I'm not sure how much time I would spend just sort of traveling around. It's kind of cool that you guys have so much stuff so nearby. But at the same time, it's nice that, that you can keep Europe at the other end of a body of water. It's there if you want it, but otherwise they have to stay out.
My argument is it's full of foreign people.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
I'm West Virginian. I feel that. Stay off my lawn.
We
All
have
right.
cruise season here, and it makes me angry
Oh,
every
no.
single year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well-
I'm
Sorry, go ahead.
very much a Western chauvinist. Okay.
Good lad.
And Europe doesn't
Stout
count
fellow.
as Western. It's very different to the Anglosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's Churchill said it best. We're a part of Europe, but we're not of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
once we
yeah.
have certain things, for example, we have certain things. We have like the Enlightenment, the Industrial Revolution, etc., etc. We're not European.
Mm.
If you get what I mean. If you look at people from Europe, and no doubt you've spoken to them, you'll find that the British, specifically, and the British broadly and the English very specifically are not European. I mean, again,
No, there's
there's-
very distinct. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's same as when people speak of Eastern and Western Europe, like continental Europe.
Mhm.
It is a very distinct cultural behavioral divide.
Yes, and it's like right, there was I don't know if who's familiar with British comedy shows from back when we were funny.
I try.
Right.
Which one are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of Yes, Prime Minister.
Oh, the famous clip from there? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the one about us going into the EU just to bugger it up.
That guy who
know,
played
just-
the prime minister, he was like, they would just tap him on the shoulder and throw him into some British show. How many shows was that guy on? I think he, a lot of stuff my
like
grandmother
Jim
used to like,
Harker.
like To the Manor Born and all that sort of stuff. He's like your own Soon-Tech-O. He just sort of shows up all the time, it looks like.
Yes,
Can't
Paul
remember his name.
Eddington.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I knew the guy's name in the show, but I just couldn't remember his name in the real world.
Yeah,
know.
I haven't watched Yes Minister, but I've gone through all of the thick of it, and I know Iannucci is not English, but I just rather enjoyed the whole Malcolm Tucker dynamic.
Yes, because he's very Scottish.
He is very Scottish, but we're probably getting a little too far off topic, and I'm derailing my own show. No, it's okay.
Apologies.
No, you're fine. We have a schedule to keep. Well, you know who doesn't have a schedule to keep? Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett passed away, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
76 is a good run. But, you know,
What do you mean?
I was thinking about this in terms of
saying?
every generation sort of has their go and blow off steam thing, right?
Yeah.
So the Grateful Dead was a good go and blow off steam thing for a lot of people. And I've known several parrot heads, and they're all just sort of a little bit younger than the Deadheads, right? I mean, and not that there aren't younger people that go to see Fish and things like that. But I feel like Jimmy Buffett, although he does have fans of every age, there's sort of a hardcore group that goes and sees him over and over and over again and makes the pilgrimage of a certain age, like approximately 60. And he has like a pretty huge following. So I think for people who are, you know, part of his core fan base, this is a pretty big deal. It's just, I'm just calling this section in the spreadsheet R.I.P. You know, R.I.P. for those 20 people in Greece, R.I.P. for Jimmy Buffett. I mean, it is too bad because so many people enjoyed his stuff.
I got to see him in a small venue. This was in that series of concerts. Think about who we had. We had Jesse Colin Young, John Prine, Leo Kottke, Jimmy Buffett. That was, you know, the University of Georgia booked some great acts when I was at Supply Corps school there. And, you know, they did that in concert with the Navy, basically so that they could get slave labor from the Navy because the students were too good to set up chairs. So they got us to come over from the school. That really was part of the deal. But anyways, we were setting up the chairs. I told you that when Leo Kottke and Jesse Colin Young came down and started jamming and providing us music to set up chairs by, you know, setting up these hundreds of folding chairs we had to set up. Most amazing thing ever. And I set up the chairs for the Jimmy Buffett concert and got to go to the concert for free. That was awesome.
It is awesome.
And it was just him and another guitarist, me and about 65, 70 of my friends, you know, in a big, you know, kind of a nightclub, a largish nightclub. And he's so personal, and he links with the audience. He banters back and forth. His guitarist was bantering back and forth. They were talking back, making jokes, just easy going, having a good time. And just it was just a mellow, wonderful evening. And he's a great entertainer. It's really a shame.
He did something that most musicians can't quite manage, which is he sort of went from entertainer to lifestyle salesperson, I guess, for lack of a better word. You know, sort of like Playboy used to be really a lifestyle thing where branded merch and stuff would show up.
What sort of man reads Playboy?
He created a lifestyle around his music. You know, the parrot head, the pilgrimages to go see him, but also the chain of restaurants and all the other stuff. And it was fairly, I mean, it was really genius the way he put all this stuff together. Most people are not smart enough to franchise and generate this kind of passive income.
No.
Other than Paul Newman.
Well, Paul Newman is another interesting story. We've talked about him a little bit.
He's not even the best business mind in his family, though.
Yeah. Who? Oh, you mean Jimmy Buffett or Paul Newman?
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Are you saying he's related to Warren?
He most certainly is. They're second cousins.
Oh wow.
They even go to the same family reunions, and they're not friendly, and they are very, very rivalrous with one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
And they both made a point of attending the same reunions and the same dinner parties together. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, isn't
sorry, go ahead, Spud.
Jimmy a lefty, or wasn't he?
I mean, they're both technically lefties.
I mean, socially lefty. I don't recall rattling the memory. I can't think of an instance where Jimmy Buffett has said anything that pissed me off that badly.
Oh no, Jimmy Buffett is too smart to come out politically. He was never that strong.
Eh.
You know, he was like, hey, take it easy and have a margarita. Job.
Well,
Right, he sat on the fence.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was smart.
Yeah.
You know, he was
Yeah.
too smart to do something. You know, come out and say he's a conservative or a liberal and to get rid of half your market. No.
Well, I thought we might mix things up ever so slightly and do the science stories early. Are we up for that?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, rather than a palate cleanser, we're just going to go to something that's a little easier before we get outraged later on. So India, hot off of its victory of actually landing a lunar rover, is now sending a mission to, well, they say it's a mission to the sun, which is stupid. That's not really what it is. It's actually a mission to L1, Lagrange point 1. But they have launched, using their own launch vehicle, a new satellite that's going to do, it's basically a solar
Are
observatory.
you going to say that those Indians are going to be home on Lagrange?
No, what I was going to say is that it looks like they launched at night, which makes me worry that they might be going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh.
I do
God dang it,
apologize.
Harry.
But-
Shit.
But no, this is actually pretty good. This is not the easiest thing in the world to do. However, in fairness, they're getting a lot of assistance from us insofar as all of the delicate maneuvers for getting something to Lagrange point 1, basically a point between the Earth and the sun that's about 10%, 90% of the distance is from the Earth, from the sun to the satellite. 10% of the distance is from the satellite to the Earth. In fact, the satellite is going to be much closer to the Earth than it is to the sun, but it puts it in a place where it can observe the sun, and it still is far enough away from the Earth that if it detects certain types of harmful particles, it can send a radio message back. Yeah. So welcome to the club, India. This is fine.
You're fucked in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually
early warning.
This is actually good. Again, as I said, I think it's really about establishing India as a brand. They don't have a deep space network like we do or the Europeans do. So their ability to speak to this probe, to communicate with it, is actually through the European Space Agency. And they're copying a lot of the orbital mechanics stuff that the European Space Agency pioneered in some of their probes. So there's a little bit of what you would call in the space business technology transfer taking place, which is part of why they seem to be having such a good success rate on the cheap. But I don't mean to take a lot away from India. This is still pretty cool.
Right. Can I just let everybody know as well? The Lagrange points are basically points where the gravitational forces are equalized, so the station keeping maneuvers needed less. Yeah,
actually the thumbnail. There's a graphic in the thumbnail for the show, which basically just shows where they're at. And this specifically is L1, which is the easiest one to sort of wrap your head around between the Earth and the sun. But be that as it may, moving on. So this is one of those stories that almost seems like bad journalism. Caltech tweaks admissions requirements for calculus, physics, and chemistry courses. Now we're supposed No. It's not. The thing is, it's not really that's not really what's happening here. Okay. I've read through this, and what's really happening is they're trying to increase their diversity stuff of their admissions, but they're doing it by making it easier for students from schools that are more disadvantaged to be able to get into Caltech. And specifically, I mean, if your school sucks and it doesn't have a competent calculus AP thing, they actually are providing opportunities for people to study that via like Khan Academy or something, and then get tested and meet the admission requirement. So they're doing the work to basically take people who don't have access to the classes and pull them up so that they can get into Caltech.
So like if they went
to
to
be like a
college,
summer prep.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah.
I like
that is-
this.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is good.
See, this is what we need. It's not about dragging everybody down to the thickest kid. It's about lifting those that can above.
Mhm.
I like that. It's two thumbs
Equal
up.
opportunity, not equal outcome. That's what it's
Yes.
giving everybody as close to equal opportunity as you can. Because no matter what you do, you can't completely make something an equal opportunity, but you can get as close as you possibly can. And this is making it equal opportunity. So if you want to put in the work and you have the brain power to do it, go to town.
Yeah. So if you do well on your tests and you have all the extracurriculars and all the things to get in, but you don't have calculus, and they want you to have calculus before you go there, and they say, well,
Which
your
makes
school,
sense.
my school didn't offer it, and it was not available in my community, they will provide an opportunity for you to learn it before you start classes, and you have to complete it and pass a test. And they're doing this
So-
for calculus, physics, chemistry courses, the whole deal. And this just makes it so that if you're not fortunate enough to live in a school district that doesn't suck, you can still get into Caltech.
Is this like a provisional acceptance based upon the
Yeah.
marks that you get from
Yeah.
this? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I just
This
feel like
makes
they're
me
trying to make this into outrage fuel the way they
Yeah.
talk about it.
It
This
is, 'cause-
this is one of the
yeah.
tamer headlines I found. Okay, because there's plenty of other ones that make it sound like Caltech is no longer requiring students to be educated before they start there, and that is not what's happening here. You were going to say something, Spud? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. I cut you off. I do apologize. No, this is what you need, because they are requiring you to be educated. But what they're doing is they're saying, well, you didn't have this opportunity. Here's said opportunity off your pop.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that because, right, because as you say, the headline makes it sound like, oh, well, we're going to dumb everything down, so we get the right, I'm going to say mix. Okay. And they're not doing that. They're saying, you prove to us you can do it, because it's
Should
probably a
Caltech
dark
look
horse.
like America? Should Caltech look like America?
It should look like the best people for Caltech in America.
Well,
I don't care about its
yeah,
representation.
Yes,
Right.
but does that necessarily? Because I think if you're saying, all right, all of you people line up in order of IQ, but also line up in, decreasing shades of melanin, or it's like trying to run two indexes at the same time is what I'm trying to say. You can't have people. You can't say we're doing this on the basis of merit and then say, but we're going to make it look like America, so we're going to pick people on a basis other than merit. That
Right,
fundamental contradiction.
Then you might as well just pick people because they're black.
You're picking
Because
winners.
that's exactly what
Just picking winners.
Well, no, you actually don't want to do that, because what's happened when you just pick people and ignore these admission requirements, or if they come from a school where technically they've passed the AP class, but they didn't really get the education, universities are spending entirely too much time trying to do the job of the high schools that the high schools should have done. So if we
Yes.
really want to make America awesome, what we need to do is fix the damn high schools so this isn't really necessary.
Are you saying making America great again?
Yeah, but
That'll get us banned. Don't you dare.
But I think insofar as it's an imperfect situation, I think this is a reasonable accommodation. You come from a shitty school district, but otherwise you seem to be, cut from the right cloth. Give them an opportunity to prove that they can do this sort of stuff. If it lets people get in who succeed and graduate, don't drop out a lot, then that's an objective measure that it works. A lot of these programs that bring in people who just can't cut it, you're not doing somebody a favor by letting them into Caltech if they don't have the right stuff to be in Caltech. That's the meanest, most horrible thing you could do to somebody.
Why don't you make Caltech be right for the student, Harry?
Because Caltech as a brand, much like India as a brand, they actually need their students' educations to mean something, or everything collapses. It's not like another school where they can get away with anything else.
Why can't those educations mean something for students who are differently abled when it comes to mathematics, for example?
Because I'm being serious and you're being sarcastic. That's the difference.
Because
I identify as differently abled in math.
Yes.
Yeah,
Speaking of
because
India.
I don't want my bridge collapsing. Thank you.
Exactly. What were you going to say,
That's the
India?
thing. I understand where Harry's coming from with India. It needs to, but India has a massive fake degree issue.
Yeah.
Like a massive one.
I'm going to feign that I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the thing of like, we can say that India as a brand needs to get up there, and they do have very intelligent people. I'm not disagreeing with that, but like, they need to fix their stuff as much as we need to fix ours. To put it very simply.
Yeah, but that's
like
a them problem.
Oh, I know, but what I'm saying is like, I like how Caltech is kind of not lowering the bar, but just kind of opening the door. And if you want to come through, you can come through. If you don't want to come through, you don't got to.
Yeah,
but you're still not going to get into Caltech.
Objectively, Caltech doesn't need people, right? They could just take some of the best people in the country, and they could fill them up, and they would have thousands of applications left over of people that are still immensely qualified. So there is a bit of a thing going on here, but it is hard not to recognize that some schools just really don't provide the same level of opportunity. So I like something that gives people opportunity as opposed to an advantage. And so this feels okay to me. I kind of want to hate it, but it feels okay to me. But it's unnecessary because Caltech can fill their roles easily.
What's like my school is here in West Virginia. Like, we're not going to have the same level of access to professors in calculus, physics, and chemistry in either high school level or undergrad college level that places like New York or Los Angeles, or well, hell, just New York State or California are going to have. And these kids are still smart. So giving them the opportunity to go, hey, go do a thing online, go through the course, take the test. If you pass, go for it. I think is a good thing.
I think it can be a good thing if done properly.
Yes, if done properly, like everything, if done properly.
Yeah.
I know you said you want to hate it. I don't, because I like this. This is very much what the whole pulling yourself up by the bootstraps thing was all about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it wasn't about just doing what you can to get by. It was always about some people are going to need a little bit of a hand, and because I mean, West Virginia is one of the worst states in the US for education, isn't it?
We're in like the bottom 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So to my mind, if they're doing it even-handedly, okay, and it's not a sleight of hand just to get more blacks, more Latinos, more whatever in, then yeah, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
If it turns out that, right, because I think from the last census, as a country, you're about 63% white, you're about 14% black.
I think it's 12 point something, but okay.
Okay, is it dropped a little? That's
it's
fine.
It's 13-ish% last I checked.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but we need to wrap this up so we can talk about bees. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so if the outcome is roughly equivalent, because people just need, basically what I'm saying is, hang on, if I don't choke to death, is because it's sort of a makeup test for people from the poorer areas, you probably are going to get, I'm going to say, an increase in the black population, because the black areas do tend to be
increase,
have less money invested,
but it's going to be relatively negligible, honestly.
Yeah,
You know,
it should be, but
yeah, I think it's
Call me a
harder to get
cynic.
into Caltech than it is to get into the Senate at this point. It's like,
well,
Yeah.
it's not people getting into the Senate. that's the
AOC got
problem.
into Congress. Do you think she could get into Caltech?
Yeah, not
No.
being funny. It's not getting people into people getting in that's the problem. It's getting the bastards out. I mean, it looks like McConnell had a mini stroke, trans-ischemic attack. You know, so
he
was
did.
just practicing.
he was
He's
just
practicing dying.
He was just practicing. Yeah, it didn't. This actually is stuff that sort of fell below the fold, in my opinion. But Nikki Haley, God, she's trying so hard. She basically commented, said the Senate is the most privileged nursing home, saying it's time for McConnell and Feinstein to leave. Yeah, I thought about putting this as part of the show, and I decided I didn't care enough because, in some sense, my interest in Nikki Haley's opinions that get handed to her is pretty minimal. I mean, it's a nice little line that her writers came up for her. But okay, yeah, maybe she's hired some of Stephen Colbert's late night writers since they're on strike. That maybe they're working on the down low. I think
Yeah,
that's an
it's one of
acceptable
those-
use of
it's
that term.
Well, it's like, okay, what are you gonna do about it, sweet cheeks?
Yeah.
It's like whoop-de fucking do. Like, you can bitch and moan about something all you want. If you don't do anything to actively try to change it, F off.
Yeah, focus on your own stuff. That's what I would say to her.
Like you.
Okay, let's talk about bees.
Yay.
I think Sora's gonna like this. This is from Los Alamos National Labs 15 years ago.
Yes, I remember that. I've seen this.
The Stealthy Insect Sensor Project.
A crowded airport, a busy port of entry, a security checkpoint at a military base or national laboratory, all potential targets of terrorist organizations.
Yeah, that's your motivation. So what they figured out was that bees have more receptors than dogs do, like in a density level.
Thresholds of parts per trillion, comparable to dogs. Bioscience division scientists at Los Alamos have studied how the bees use their tongues as sensitive detection instruments. This process is called a proboscis extension reflex,
Is that what they
or
call it?
purr.
Yeah.
They only use their tongues for feeding and not for any other reason. With
That we know
Pavlovian
of.
techniques, the bees are trained to stick out their tongues as a conditioned response
Oh, it
to
gets funnier,
explosives
Sora.
vapors.
I've
This
seen video.
technique
It's
has been
funnier.
further developed into a prototype detection platform system, so bees
Wait,
can
what?
be used to detect explosives in trucks,
bees
on
with
people,
Hang
at
on a minute.
checkpoints,
Oh, it
and
gets
over
worse.
water.
It gets worse. Stay with it.
Honeybees are collected from hives, which can be maintained
Stay
indoors
with
or
it.
outdoors.
Yeah. Let's get some
Once in
bees.
the lab, the bees are cooled to slow down their movement for handling purposes.
Yeah, let's put the bees in the
Individual
Put 'em in
fridge.
bees
the
are then
fridge with the
removed from the
food.
storage container
Yeah.
and secured into reusable harnesses.
And
Oh,
tape the
look at this.
bee
Strap
First, we let the
down.
bees get
Oh,
used to
baby.
their new
Oh,
environment,
with tater's
allowing
tape.
them about
Reusable
30 minutes to
harnesses.
acclimate.
Some
Yeah.
reason that was
Next, the
important.
bees are tested for their ability to stick out their tongues by giving them sugar water
Together,
on the tip of a cotton swab. That's the purr. The bees that can
Aw.
purr are then trained to purr when they smell a certain scent.
Oh, look at
Training
them.
involves giving them a 6-second
Aw.
burst of an explosive vapor,
I've been licked by a
with the
bee.
last
by
3
a bee
promise
seconds
this is
before.
going
including a
somewhere,
sugar
by the
water
way.
reward on a cotton
This is
swab.
the best.
Yeah.
After 4
Just
rounds
shows
of
the-
training, bees that purr voluntarily after receiving the scent are used in the field. To use the bees in the field, we place them in a prototype detection platform.
Purring?
3 bees are
Wait,
placed
wait
into the
for
unit
it,
at a
wait
time.
for it.
The unit pulls air into the interior of the box and over the bees. A camera is mounted inside,
is an older
and an
one.
image
This
of
is
their
not the new
heads can be
one.
seen
This is
on
an
a
older
computer
one.
screen. When the
This is the
bees
new thing
detect
they
the
use.
scent in which they have been trained, a specific explosive, they purr.
So this, yes, as you said, this is the older one. So it has since evolved into there's like a whole science. They're called sniffer bees, And
they look like little bees at little desks.
yeah, they have little bees at little desks, and they basically train them that they'll get fed if they can successfully
You know,
smell a
times are
chemical.
I love
tough.
this so much.
Yeah,
I love
When
this.
even bees need to get a desk job.
yeah.
Oh no, it's even funnier. The new thing they have to test now looks like a gun. It looks like a Hoover.
Yeah.
Like a no, not like a tricorder. It looks like a tricorder, just a really big tricorder. So now they're in a gun because they load them in like they're rounds.
The problem with this is that they don't have the bees can only really detect one thing. So like if the bee detects C4, it detects C4. If it detects, pearls and oil, TNT, or drugs. Now they've used them to detect drugs as well. But yeah, I ran across and read several papers on sniffer bees. And it turns out that as a technology, this actually works pretty well. Now, of course, they don't like keep them there till they die. After they've served their purpose, they let them go, and then they alien abduct a whole bunch of new bees, and then
Poor bees.
and then run them through the experiments. So
Didn't guillotine.
so this has moved forward in time, so that now we have this development. How bees and drones team up to find landmines. So somebody got the idea, hey, can we use bees to find these landmines? They're doing a lot
Whoever
of
wrote the title this Chris guy felt proud of himself.
He
with that
did.
title.
See, among the virtues of bees, you made up yours, are a knack for detecting bombs. Thanks to the fact that they can pick up the scent of explosives with their antennae, researchers in countries such as Croatia have spent years perfecting how to use bees as landmine locators. But there's a problem. As the insects whiz merrily about a landmine-contaminated area, it's extremely difficult for humans to keep track of where they go, not least because chasing bees across a minefield is not a good idea. That's where the drones come in. A team from Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia have come up with a way of using drones to monitor the bees while they work. The unmanned aerial vehicles fly around, capturing footage of the insects, which is later analyzed by computers to reveal where landmines may be hidden in the ground. So essentially, using drones to monitor where the bees cluster, they can determine where the landmines are. And I think this is awesome.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome,
that's and it's even better than having like the rats and stuff that are trained, because those, it's still sad when they get blown up and by accident.
Yeah. Hey, here, I'll put
When
this
rats get
in the
blown
chat.
Up, it's not sad.
If anybody
Those
is
rats.
really, really bored, here is honeybee-based biohybrid system for landmine detection.
Yeah.
You can't say we're not doing real science here.
I love it. It's so cool.
It is cool. I've seen video of this where they look down. So here's basically a practice minefield that they were, using the drones on. And the drones fly around, and they use computers to figure out where the bees are spending the most time. It's just that simple. I think this is very cool.
It shows how technology and nature can work together.
Well, it not only shows how technology and nature can work together, but it shows when your resources are limited and your problems are big, you just need to let creative, clever people do their damn job. Because this is not the way the U.S. would have solved this problem. We would have done something completely different, like use a giant tractor to tow a bunch of chains behind them and just blow all the mines up by basically just dragging a steel net over the field.
I think there is the mine thing where you put it's on the front of the tank though.
There's a dragging thing too.
Yeah, we used to have one with the roller in front of it called the Matilda. And we used it during World War II.
Flail. It was called the flail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a flail on a roller, and so we did it the USA way. Let's blow shit up.
Yeah, that's our solution. Let's just use brute force to detonate the mines.
Damn right.
Whereas in Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Croatia, where unfortunately there are a lot of mines left behind from bad things that happened. I mean, yet more reasons not to go to Europe, right, Spud Gun? But yeah, because it's full of landmines. But yeah, I think using the bees to detect the landmines, when you combine it with the drones, it's pretty damn sweet. I like it when low-tech solutions give high-tech results.
Well, I mean, it's also, let's face facts. The reason why Western Europe, specifically England and America, do the let's blow it all up is because we don't actually have to live with landmines. If we had to live with landmines, people would be like, can you find something that's nicer than just blowing everything up, please?
Could we just not blow the whole field up? Could we just not?
Can you just remove them? But because we don't have to live with it, we're like, well, we don't care. Just blow the shit up. Like,
okay, well, speaking of wanton destruction, I assume everybody has seen this, and if you haven't, you are in for a treat. Okay, Burning Man Festival Road shut down. Attendees fight protesters and Rangers ram blockade and point gun at climate activist head, Nevada.
Wait, it was it was the reservation Rangers.
Yes,
not
yes, it
Americans.
It was the Paiute.
Yeah.
Which it's like,
yeah,
What?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
our reservations have different cops than the rest of it because they are considered a separate part of our nation. Not separate
okay,
from our nation, so they have their own cops. And because of that, it was real funny. I'm sure Harry will show the video part of it where one of them screams, one of the protesters goes, "I have rights," and everyone's like, "No, you don't. You're on a reservation, bitch. Get out of here."
Nice.
So here's the full video. I'm not going to show the full video. This is on freedomnews.tv. So you can
They just want to
see.
get high, man. Just let it get high.
Let's just turn that down a little bit here. But you can see.
So wait. So basically, they're blocking people's access to the festival. Is that
Yep.
what they're doing?
Yep, the one road going in and out of Burning Man, they decided they would just block the access.
Cool, thank you. Please.
This is Just Stop Oil.
No, you're on public property. No, we gotta get
You're on reservation. What do you mean?
Yep. So some people tried to get them to move their thing, but they decided to just be giant dickholes about it. This
fucking move this fucking mess.
patchouli oil toe ring chick here with the hat decides to chain herself to this apparatus. Now this is all fun, so the people try to make them stop doing what they're doing, and then the line of cars goes on for freaking ever. Now a few people try to go around.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Sora?
I was just gonna say, why don't they just go around? I mean, like, I know it's desert and probably not great on tires, but you don't have to go far
If
out.
you've got
around them.
these guys started getting in the way of people trying to go around
Yeah,
too.
they
A
started
few people made it.
And the reservation doesn't allow you to drive through the desert because they use a
not,
very
like,
specific
local
spot
fauna.
they've cordoned off for Burning Man, and Burning Man brings them a lot of money.
Yep.
But you can destroy a lot of native habitat if you drive through the desert.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah,
want to
fair.
kind of keep both. So
Yeah.
I show the sorry. just
Well,
keep
here's
going.
here's the fun part. This is the short version. Oops, sorry, I went too far. Somebody going around. Call the cops. Yes, we'll do that.
Call the cops. Show me your badge.
And yeah, she seems nice.
People together.
I love the fact they're all fast.
No, the cops are coming.
Still use
Right
stuff
over
that
there.
requires.
Yep, here
I do
come the
like this.
cops.
They're very nicely telling them cops are coming.
Yep.
Fucking help.
You're gonna eventually get there.
Hey, miss, you know what?
Oh yeah, they will.
You're obviously
Oh, we're not burners?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's burning, yeah.
Wait for the call.
You're putting my life
Oh, well,
at
then you
risk.
can fuck off.
I'd love to do that.
This is burning man.
No, you're not.
What was up on his screen?
Sorry, I'm trying to get the part where the cops actually show up. Ah, here we are.
Yeah, there it is. That's right where the truck is. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, they backed it up
That.
forever.
That's what he thinks is the protest.
That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
Reservation police
God.
do not give a crap.
Civil disobedience. Meet the Paiute police.
Oh, they start tackling
Ah,
here in a
shut up.
second.
That's beautiful.
We're non-violent.
Yeah. I'll
She's
fix
thinking it's
that.
optional. No, it's not optional. Like, get in the ground right there.
I'm sure they want to
Do
shoot a
not fly
whitey
the
right now.
reservation.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, so they
I
just
think
they
you should shoot one
dismantled
of them.
this and hauled these people
That
off to
just made
jail.
me happy.
It's very happy making.
They should
Yeah.
haul them off behind a hill and just shot them and leave them for the coyotes. I'm just kidding. Just in
Well,
my
the thing
head,
is
I like
like-
to go there.
when you think about it, there's no way in heck they didn't know it was reservation land. So you can guarantee these are the white people who do, the comic where it's like, shut up, person of color, I'm going to speak for you because I'm the white person who knows better
It
than
doesn't
you.
matter. It doesn't matter where they did it, Serenity. It was so inconsiderate. That's just.
I know, Skep. That's what I was getting to before you.
Thousands of people.
Yeah.
Sorry
Like,
about that.
no, you're fine. It's just it's one of those things that's kind of like. The thing is like they thought that they were doing the reservation, the Native Americans who were too weak to do anything. They thought they were doing them some good. I guarantee you that was their thought. It's like they thought they were speaking for the members of the reservation. The reservation's like, no, this brings in a lot of money. These drug addicts are amazing for us. Get out of the way.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I'm on board with that theory. I mean, it's possible, but I think I think they identified a choke point and tried to get as much exposure as possible, and I think that's the only consideration that was top of mind for them.
Either one works either way, but still, it's like I can guarantee you they were probably like, why are these Native Americans doing this? I'm sorry, Indigenous. Why are you doing this to us? We're trying to help you. I can guarantee you at some point when someone was sitting in jail, they said that.
Well, Burning Man by itself is okay. It's kind of a sore point. It's sort of like a giant gaming chair to me. I look at it and I think, okay, I get it, but I mean, okay.
The level of pretension that goes on at Burning Man is insane.
Burning Man. Okay, I want to talk about Burning Man for just a little bit here. Okay.
Go for it.
So here, I thought I wanted to find a description of how do you describe Burning Man. So I found this clip.
70s or 80s, and they're still going.
Really? Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while, and it seems like each year it kind of builds and changes, and.
Well, it's meant to. It's not a festival, and that was one of the things, like with the question.
How do you describe Burning Man? She's still not describing it, by the way.
And it's not a festival.
Okay.
Because a festival is curated by the people who put it on.
Okay, good.
Burning Man is more. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, you can't explain what it is, basically. Let me not give you a minute of this woman. She can't really explain what it is. She can tell you what it isn't, but she can't really tell you what it is.
It's a drug-fueled orgy.
Her head.
Maybe either she doesn't know or she doesn't want to say the words out loud.
She doesn't want to say it out loud because it is a drug-fueled orgy.
Mm-hmm.
It
With
is?
a bunch of people. Yes.
They take old people.
There may be some drugs there. Yes. You were going to add a comment, Spud?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all just bourgeois hippie bollocks.
Yes.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm actually well familiar with Burning Man. I know what it is.
Well,
but it's they're like everyone who goes to it. Like there was a the group from Critical Role went to it like a couple years ago, and I'm like, okay, so you all are as bourgeoisie as you could get. You were voice actors from Los Angeles.
They're glamping is what they're doing. Some of them are glamping. They bring along their chefs and they prepare food in tents and the whole deal.
Harry.
Yeah.
Never say that word again.
I'm saying it with disdain in my voice. Does that?
No.
Which word?
Just
glamping.
Glamping?
Yeah.
Glamorous camping.
Yes.
Oh, that's my favorite kind of camping.
I know, I'm the same way. But it's one of those things where it's kind of like you just saw pictures from it, and it was a bunch of half-naked people, some of which who could be half-naked, most of which no.
Half.
People
That's
sitting.
Not lack of commitment.
It was the pictures they were allowed to post on the internet.
Okay.
Go with me, Harry.
Okay.
People sitting under tents with a bunch of laying on their backs, staring at lights as they flicker because you know they're all high. It's just.
Hey, they're only microdosing psilocybin. I don't know what you're talking about.
What else is there to do out there other than get high and have sex?
Yeah, I mean, just rub your bits together and trip.
Yeah.
That's basically about all you can do.
I spend my money doing something else personally, but
well, people make the pilgrimage, and you know who those people are because it's like talking to a Seventh-day Adventist or a Watchtower person.
Vegan.
Or a vegan, because they as soon as you hear the word playa, you know you're in for a long conversation about, here, let me show you the pictures that I took last time I was on the playa. This is not a bit. This is not a thing I'm making up.
Playa means beach. That's not a beach.
There was this guy I knew from work a million years ago who He's just very, very painfully artsy in addition to being technical. And he would like show up and go, here's the 1,000 pictures I took at Burning Man every single year, you know, and I knew this guy for like 10 years.
And they all look the same.
But there is an aspect to Burning Man. Here's an old clip from like 2 years after Burning Man started, which I think will tie into the thing that's going to come after it. So.
The one thing that is absolutely forbidden is almost all commercial trade. There are no Burning Man t-shirts, no bumper stickers, no buttons. There is virtually nothing for sale because the most basic tenet of Burning Man is that life is not about watching or buying. It is about participating.
So
this is insufferable.
It is, and it will.
But also probably really fun.
It's about participating, not watching.
Yeah, but commerce is a thing that's not doesn't work. Now, I want you to keep that nugget of information in your mind as we cover the next and last thing about Burning Man. Okay. Rain Man, Burning Man is a washout with organizers forced to close the gate into the site for final weeks as torrential downpours turn usually bone-dry desert into a slippery, muddy paste.
Even God hates your non-festival.
Now, part of the problem is that they're running out of like things like food because food can't be brought in and all this sort of stuff. God, if only there was like a system where you could trade some kind of token in exchange for goods that you need.
I know.
What are you, the man?
Be like money?
Yeah. So a bunch
money would do that, right?
A bunch of sex-crazed hippies went into the desert to have a party, and it rained a lot, and they realized that nobody brought any food, and there's no mechanism with which to buy food.
Yep. Well, it's also like I had a friend who used to go clean up after Burning Man. Because they don't, no matter what they try to say, they don't clean up after they party.
Right.
It's a crap. People have left cars.
Wow. They don't work anymore?
He said he was able to get it to turn on. So I don't know. I don't remember if he said it was a flat tire or not. But it's just like the piles of trash. I've also heard of a thing called Condom Mountain, which we're not going into. But it's disgusting. It's blah, blah, blah. And it's just like he's like, we find underwear all the time. We find broken down bicycles. We found cars before. Thankfully, we never found a pet or kid because I'm terrified for that day.
Lovely.
He's like, thankfully, but he's like, we found. No, he's weirdly. My friend who went, he's weirdly like aware of the world, but not aware of the world because he was like, we found a bunch of pacifiers, and I was like, that's for drugs, and he went, that's what they're for. He's like, I thought a bunch of people brought babies, and I was even more terrified. I was like, that actually makes it better. It's like, yeah, it's drugs, honey.
And again, misspent youth, but you have the pacifiers so that you don't chew your tongue off, or you don't
or grind your
inside
teeth.
your mouth, or grinding your teeth. Yeah, I was going through everything. It's basically because you either end up biting your tongue off, you'll end up chewing the inside of your mouth, or you'll grind your teeth down to the knob. Because
the teeth is the ecstasy, the biting the tongue off is DMT. I can't remember. Like, there's different ones that do different things.
But I know what you can get DMT, dimethyltryptamine,
or one of the drugs. I can't remember. It's not DMT. It's something else. But it's one of the drugs.
I think that's like a Hunter S. Thompson practically urban legend thing. Next thing,
there's
it's
a lot
be
of stuff you can get at Burning Man, though. Like fentanyl gets passed around like water. Like that one I know about.
Sure.
But there's.
I like to put it on the end of my junk. You know, get two things going on at the same time.
No.
But it's one of those. It's like, I know with ecstasy, it's the grinding of the teeth, which is the reason why rave culture always had the pacifiers. But other drugs do other things. But yeah, he's like, that makes me feel so much better because I thought they had babies there, and I was like, no. I hope they don't have babies there, but that's not what it's used for.
I thought it was some weird infantilism fetish thing that ravers did. No. So okay, cool. I see. I learned something today. That's one to grow on, folks. Okay.
Aren't you glad you turned up now, Harry?
Yeah, I am. So I'm going to just mention this, and then we're just going to say screw these people and move on because we actually have plenty of time.
That's what you think.
Okay, that's fun. Well, basically, some stupid person, climate activist in Canada, threw a bunch of paint on a picture. All right. Well, good thing we can't load it. So there was a case that was brought before a New York judge by some sorority sisters that were annoyed that a not biologically female person was allowed into their sorority. Yeah, this person.
Good God.
The
God, I read
reason
about
that I'm laughing.
Artemis Langford was accepted into the sorority chapter. Now, this is another one of those articles that's supposed to sort of piss you off, and it does, but maybe for the wrong reasons. The problem is that the governing board, the national board for this stupid sorority, decided that they were going to just let people like Artemis Langford in. And there were a handful of these girls at this one fraternity who didn't want Artemis, there's Artemis, in their sorority. I cannot stop doing that.
You say Greek house.
Sorry, I had to deal with fraternities more than sororities, and even that, not so much.
Most sororities were actually fraternities.
So they were essentially suing the people who ran the thing at the national level, trying to get them to change their policy. And the people at the national level aren't really affected by Artemis Langford. They just want to feel good about themselves. So the judge said, yeah, there's really nothing I can do about this. And the judge quite cleverly decided, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to legally define what a woman is. I'm just going to sidestep that mine. There's bees all over it. And I'm just going to just walk away and give a very narrowly defined ruling.
Well, and the very narrowly defined ruling, because I don't know if you guys have heard of Nate the lawyer.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I love Nate the lawyer.
He's growing on me. There were a couple of bits where it's like, get to, and it was like, but I can see where he's coming from. He's very hard focused on the law, on what the law actually says, whether or not I agree with it. And basically in the terms and conditions, they have got that anyone who identifies as a woman, there's no biological component given. There's no, you've got to have had this surgery or that surgery. It's very it's very broad. So to speak. Yes. And I am going to make the point, okay? Feminists took every single space that was men only away from us. And now men, because they are men, no matter what you say, at a biological level, they will always be men. Okay. And they are now the chickens have come home to roost.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in this particular case, it is a freedom of association case. And the women who are in this sorority, I got it right that time, who don't want to basically be in a co-ed dorm can choose to leave if they want. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's not fair, but a lot of things in life aren't particularly fair. But they basically joined a sorority that's run by people who are focused on things other than maybe the enjoyment and well-being and peace of mind of the people who are in the sorority. I mean, and in reality, it seems like it would be not that much different than just living in a co-ed dorm, which lots of people seem to survive just fine. But if this is something that matters to you...
The thing is, in sororities, they very often have to share rooms.
Yeah, I would think the person who would have to share rooms with Artemis might have a real basis for being annoyed.
Well, I can't remember if this is the one or not, but I remember there was some story about the girls were made uncomfortable because the person who had an Audi instead of an innie their Audi was very pronounced at one point, and they were very happy to see everyone.
They didn't have a bonus hole, is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying someone was at full
No,
mast.
I know what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no
and I can't
shrinkage.
remember if it was this story or if it was another one.
It was
But it
this
was-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
And it's
sorry
like-
for them. I mean, I really
Did somebody
do.
lose the election? I mean.
Was there erection interference? Is that what you're saying? What?
Yes,
Well,
yes, exactly.
I'm wondering what kind of sorority Kappa Kappa Gamma is, because normally they're a lot, because having worked for the university system, at least near where I live, for 12 plus years, they're usually pretty stringent about who they let in unless the upper echelons
Kappas
allowed Artemis
especially,
in.
Their national reputation is one of the most exclusive houses. This isn't Chi Omega or Pi Phi.
They're
This
not that
is
exclusive.
fucking Kappa house.
Well, that's what
That's badass.
that's what-
It's like Sigma Chi of the fraternities.
and that's what I'm saying is that did the upper echelon of the sorority, as in the people who run everything for the national sorority, overrule the girls at the sorority house?
Well,
Almost certainly.
they set the
Almost
rules. There's no overruling. They said these are the rules and this person gets to come in.
Well, no, I'm saying, but when they allow them into the sorority house, Harry.
Oh
there's
yeah,
stuff
no,
you
the
have to
girls, the
abide by.
locals have no choice in the matter. They're bound by the codes from the national organization.
Yeah. They're getting there's the
There's no autonomy. It's not like a devolved
every
Congress.
fraternity and sorority refers to their national organization as our national. In fact, national is a noun used that way.
Yeah.
I understand what you all are saying, but you're not getting what I'm saying. When these people apply to the local sorority, you don't apply at the national level, you apply at the local level.
Yes.
And they saw Artemis apply.
Yes.
Does that mean that the local level has no say? Because all the sororities where I worked had a say at the local level, unless Artemis
This is really
pushed it up the
really
national level.
complicated.
Yeah.
I know what's going on here. It's probably harder. I'm happy to take you offline and explain it to you, but I don't. It's so much detail. It has to do with how fraternities and sororities pick their members. I was a member of a big national fraternity, and there's a rush process that you go through. You don't apply to be a member of a fraternity or sorority. There's a rush week where you go and you visit rush parties. So you'll go and you hit a couple of rush parties every night. And these are open things that where you come in, look at the house, get to meet the people, and if you make some friends somewhere, you may get an offer. You may get it's called a bid, and if you get a bid, you can opt to pledge that house. And when you pledge, you go through a period of time that you show your devotion to the house. It usually involves a lot of cleaning and some hazing. And then after a suitable period of time, if your grades have stayed up and you've done a good pledgeship, you've done learned all the ritual you're supposed to learn, they will initiate you in a secret initiation ceremony into a fraternity or sorority. That is how you get into a fraternity or a sorority that's not an honorary society, like Phi Beta Kappa or Tau Beta. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out here. So here's what's going on. The national organization sets the regulations and rules that all the chapters all across the United States have to follow. These are usually some very general rules. And then they always say, but the final say will always be at the local chapter. And this is never true on any controversial thing. Nationals always step in and enforce their specific rules on anything that has any visibility. We saw this several times at Sigma Chi. We see it we saw several big national organizations go through stuff like this, where there was some very visible thing, and the national organization comes in and says, "You will handle it this way. You will handle everything else your normal way, however you want to do it, your usual discretion. But on this, you're going to do things our way." And that's what happens.
Okay.
So I told you it was a lot of stuff.
Well, we have a follow-up to a previous story. There's a small town in central California by the name of Spreckles. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And there was a case that we talked about. I can't remember if it was a year and a half ago or a year ago, but it was a while ago, where they were doing this, hey, come to our happy fun lunch club. And they did a full court press, even including trying to send the police on a social welfare call on the actual mother, trying to sort of coerce this kid into transitioning. It's not a good case. There's nothing charitable that I can really say about it. But here's the follow-up to that.
A landmark victory for parental rights has just been settled, and it's coming out of California, Spreckle, California. In 2021, Jessica Conan, a California mom, sued the Spreckle School District when she learned that her daughter was being socially transitioned at school. She alleged that they questioned her daughter's sexuality and allowed her to use male pronouns and bathrooms. With the backing of the Center for American Liberty, Conan is receiving $100,000 from her settlement with the district. Joining us now.
And Spreckles is a tiny, tiny school district. It is a really small town. The town itself is only a few square blocks. So $100,000 from a school district that size is actually kind of a big deal.
Well, now that's the government. They have infinite amounts of money. It's
Yeah,
okay.
they'll just print more, right?
Just print the Spreckle School District. Just print more of their Spreckle script.
Yeah, that's how it's going to work. Well, I mean, we already covered it. Like I said, back in I guess it was 2021. It was one of those. It was a really saucy little case because the partner of the teacher who was trying to do this was the person who ran their IT stuff. And I guess they'd been using some spyware that they'd set up. I mean, there's really no nicer term for it, to see what kind of searches the kid was doing on their laptop. Mm-hmm. And that's how they figured out who to sort of predate on. I mean,
who to prey on.
Yeah, exactly.
Predate.
So good. It cost them $100,000. Good. I think that's like the right amount of sting. A couple people lost their job and it cost them $100,000. That won't bankrupt the Spreckles School District, but yeah. It's like a really small town, the kind of town where you think it really couldn't happen because it's so small that everybody knows each other.
But when a town like that learns a lesson like that and they have to fork over the $100,000, that $100,000 comes means a different, lower level of opportunity for some students who don't deserve that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me sad about that.
I didn't think it was possible for something like this to secretly do this to a kid in a town that small. But they sure tried, but it blew up in their face, and they can suck it.
The thing is, and and this has been going on for years, it's the slow movement of the, I'm going to say, the authority of parents. Basically, they've pulled away the authority of parents to make the state, mummy, daddy, and everything in between. And that's the problem. And then you've got like this has obviously all come out because something's then happened which somebody has seen and then thought, hang on, this is way wrong.
Yeah. Well,
it's been a whistleblower. Because you don't just find this stuff out because too many kids, I mean, I don't know how old the child was.
Young.
But yeah, I'm going to guess sort of 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, elementary school.
Right, okay, so younger than about 10.
Yeah. And I can say this because they don't have anything higher than that in that area.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
They have to go to a neighboring community to attend high school and stuff. Yeah, it is a problem. It's one of the more egregious cases, and it's just so weird that it happened in a small town that isn't like a blue town. You know, it happened like in a small reddish, sort of pinkish part of California. It really caught me off guard. But there's no guarantees about any of this sort of stuff. So I was unaware that Elon Musk had a trans kid. And that really wasn't that big an issue for Elon. But apparently the kid has now been indoctrinated by their school to hate their dad because their dad has money. And Elon blames elite LA school for brainwashing communist trans daughter into hating him for being rich.
Does that mean she hates her mommy too? Because her mommy took a lot of his money.
Well, she probably just hates her proportionally.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's one of those things where it's kind of like, you're going to hate one, sweetheart. You got to hate the other.
Yeah.
And I guess this doesn't matter. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Only hates him 73%.
But it doesn't matter how rich you are. Some problems just crop up regardless. I mean, oh no, your teenager hates you. And they're using communism as an excuse. Lots of teenagers hate lots of parents. You know, I don't know. It doesn't really take a whole lot to condition them, does it?
Elementary school kids can hate their grandparents. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I didn't have that problem. I liked my grandparents. My grandparents were awesome.
Well, they like me until I say no.
Yeah.
Somebody has to tell them no.
Man, I used to tool around with my grandfather all the time. I took lessons and started playing golf when I was 8, and he and I would go play golf every Saturday morning.
That's so awesome.
It was so much fun. Yeah, anyway. Well,
did you play on that little course in Monterey?
I did.
I can't believe that's the course where I had the best round of golf I ever shot in my life. The lowest legit score, and it was in a tournament.
It's not a super difficult course, but it's a really nice place.
Yeah, it's beautiful though.
But yeah, anyway, so I don't really know what to make of this, other than money does not solve all your problems. And
no, but it seems like a good way to weaponize your child against your ex as well.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
That's
like the way it happened is because his ex-wife hates him, like more so than most ex-wives.
This is the ex-wife's kid. Oh,
yeah,
not one of his
that's the reason
many.
why I made the joke about the money.
Oh,
she's only rich because of who her husband was. Like so,
And by joke, you mean accurate statement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's like she came out when she was 16, and she even told her aunt to not tell her dad about it. And it's like, I mean, considering the nut job your mother is, because look into that child's mother, and she woohoo.
Is she Cocoa Bananas?
Well, she's not so much that she's very how do I put this? She's very Hollywood Democrat. Let's put it that way.
She's Cocoa Bananas.
Well, let me ask you a question, Serenity. If you had a kid, would you rather have them be a full-blown communist or just gender confused but without doing anything permanent to their body?
Gender confused.
Yeah, me too. I could deal with like, okay, you figure this shit out. Just don't do anything permanent and have a nice time. That would be sort of my response to the gender thing. You know, let us know when you're over 18 and you figure out what you want to do. That's fine. You're still my kid. Great.
Well,
but communist, that is a line too far. I have no patience for those fucking communists.
Well, and that's a kind of the thing that kind of leads into this is that, so are you going to turn down your birthright to any of your daddy's money? Or your mommy's money?
No.
Well, nope. You know, Bertrand Russell, he was the third Earl of Russell. He was entitled to get money just by existing, just by being a cool dude who was born in a particular body in England. He could have just had money. Now, he was a dirty socialist in addition to, he did a lot of great things, but he was a dirty, nasty socialist. But he at least had the integrity to not take the state money, to just make money off of his books and all the other stuff, to not do that. So, I mean, that's respectable. And if you're going to be a dirty socialist, at least be consistent about it, right? But this kid is not, this kid's not turning down the money.
Not a chance in hell.
No.
Not a chance in hell. Well, it's one of those things like if you're gonna, it's kind of like every single like person you see who lives in all LA and all this kind of stuff who are like anti-capitalist and socialist and communist. Cool, that is absolutely fine. Practice what you preach. Well, no, we live in a then you don't actually want to practice what you preach.
Yeah.
Shut up. Don't do it. Just be quiet.
So the next thing is kind of incendiary. Sorry, Spud, did you have a quick thing?
Yeah, basically all these. Have you noticed in the US, you never seem to find a poor communist?
Really?
Poor people can't afford to be communists, Spud.
Exactly. That's kind of the point.
Well,
you know,
no, there's another problem. Poor people don't really understand communism.
Because you get
100
screwed
million
by
dead.
You know, yeah. Ask a poor person to, you know, give someone money for not working, and see what that poor person does. Give them some of their money for not working.
I'll tell you what West Virginians would do. They'll put a shotgun to your head and go, "Get off my property now."
Try that in Midlothian, Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
It's like, try it. I dare you.
Well, let's see. We're actually ahead of schedule. There's a couple completely maddening and infuriating things, which we don't have to spend a lot of time on.
Maddening and infuriating.
Maddening and infuriating. Well, I guess the FBI killed a disabled veteran. That's fun. We can not talk about that. Well, I have to get to this next.
I didn't hear about that.
You didn't?
That?
Neither did I.
No.
Let's see. After FBI kills disabled veteran in pre-dawn raid, family demands answers. It was a senseless act. So a few weeks before, there was a knife attack, and he was a suspect in that and had subsequently been released. As of just a little while ago, essentially the FBI showed up en masse with SWAT teams and descended on this guy pre-dawn at his mom's house. And he ended up dead at the end of this. And but it's okay. The FBI is internally investigating whether they use the correct amount of force
to
deal with this obviously troubled sort of guy. Yeah, I mean,
they're on this.
De-escalation isn't for people like this guy. It's de-escalation's not for this guy. Theodore Dreschler, 45, was killed on August 16th in an FBI raid of a home in Henderson, Tennessee. Yep.
Can I ask what part of what service was he in?
I thought it was Army. Sorry,
Well, that's what his fatigues say. It looks like.
Yeah. But yeah, they came with an appropriate level of force. I mean, yeah, these are stock photos. But
So he was a disabled veteran. They came in and shot him.
Well, he supposedly had a knife
said,
and may
"Hi,
have done
how's it
something.
going?"
Yeah, they could have. There's so many things they could have done that would have not resulted in this guy getting killed.
Yeah, like all the other things.
The FBI needs to be not just stripped down and retooled. The FBI needs to be completely disbanded.
It'll never happen.
meant to be. It was never meant to be around as long as it has been.
That's a lovely sentiment. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, given what he was supposedly involved in, I'm not even clear on why the FBI was involved in this to begin with. It seems like the county sheriff should have just shown up with a couple of guys and tried to bring this guy in. And then if it escalated, fine, call SWAT and do all this other sort of stuff. But no, something about this is very, very, very weird.
He was a suspect in a knife attack at a school, I think is what Harry said.
That usually doesn't precipitate like a full-blown FBI at dawn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
With the feds in on that, that's so.
What information did he have that somebody might have?
You mean something about the Clintons, possibly?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
He basically got shot. They got the mom out of the way, threw her, and when she answered the door, threw her in the back of a car. They went in, launched tear gas into the building, and as he was trying to sort of get away, somebody thought that maybe in the midst of all that stuff that he might have been armed, and they ended up shooting the guy.
They
descended on this guy like a ton of bricks.
It sounds like they may have been local cops at one time who forgot how to handle this kind of a stop. Either that, or they had orders to go in and make sure this guy doesn't survive the experience.
Yeah. And there's so much about this we don't know. Now, in the chat, it's saying, yeah, we need to talk about this. And the only reason I'm reluctant is not because I don't care. It's just that there are other channels out here, sort of in the monkey sphere, who are better equipped to kind of talk about this sort of thing than I am. You know, who know more about it and are sort of more in tune with the news of it. And I just don't feel like I want to do a bad job talking about something this important. That's my only reluctance. Because yeah, I'm really annoyed. So here's another annoying thing.
My argument would be that, in fact, you're probably one of the best because you don't just scream about these things.
It's easy to get outraged. It's hard to actually find out about stuff. And, you know, I put a lot of time in reading stuff for this, but there's just no information about this guy. I did a search and all I was able to come up with was the stuff about the knife attack. I looked for more information and there were just a few lines. This just, as far as I can tell, it just happened out of the blue. Now, there are Discords that I'm in, that I'm sort of like their token not far-right guest, who I'm sure I could have shaken a few trees and some answers would have fallen out if I'd gone about it. But I know there's going to be people talking about this who are not me, who are going to do a way better job.
So I'm going to be devil's advocate here.
Knock yourself out. And to be clear, you are being devil's advocate.
Yes.
Okay.
The issue is, even if the FBI had a reason to go after him, like he was part of something bigger that was found in an investigation by the cops after the stabbing, and they reported it up to the FBI, is anyone actually going to believe them? No. Ooh, I'm going to say it right now. No one's going to believe the FBI, even if the FBI is 100% factual.
The FBI are a bunch of lying scumbags that do not have the interest of it.
Now, this guy's name was Craig Robertson. Is that correct?
Theodore Dreschler.
It's Theodore Dreschler. Yeah. Deschler. Sorry. D-E-S-H-A-L-E-R. But it's one of those things like it at this point, because of everything going on in the world, not just the country, it doesn't matter if you do think you said the FBI is completely corrupt, Spud, and that's fine. There's no disagreement there. The issue is, even if the FBI shows all of the evidence shows that this guy was part of something bigger, or he was part of something to try to get information or something, it's not going to matter because no one's going to believe them.
Because it's the FBI.
I understand, but the FBI still does good stuff sometimes.
Yeah, they're not completely corrupt. They're not completely corrupt. There are good people who work for the FBI.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It doesn't, at this point, it's a no-win situation for the FBI. If they come out and say, well, he was part of a bigger terror plot and he was going to do this, this, and this, no one's going to believe them. If they keep their mouths shut and say nothing, people are going to just keep screaming they're corrupt, which they can be corrupt because they're powered by humans. Anything touched by a human being can be corrupt. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like,
damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Yeah, and that's the issue, is that a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world has made it so, and it's not for the case of being able to say the world is good and perfect. It's the fact that no one is willing to step back from either point of view to go, maybe there's more to this that we don't know, and maybe we need to not make judgments right now and hold on and see what other information comes out, whether we think it's bullshit or not, and just step back. Because every article I've read, the only person who said that he wasn't armed was his brother who was not in the house. So it's one of those things, we don't know if he did pull a gun. I'm not saying he should have gotten shot.
Well, there's armed and there's armed.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is like, we don't know a lot of stuff, and we most likely never will know a lot of stuff, because a lot of people aren't going to believe it, or if they do, or they could so it's one of those, it's like, it's a damned if they do, damned if they don't moment. So like, I understand talking about it, but
you remember what I said last week about the Office of the Inspector General? The only part of the government I would make bigger is the Office of the Inspector General, because you need somebody who's independent, who can go in and figure out what happened. Now, they may not be a tool fit for purpose for something like this, but
Yeah.
It doesn't look good that the FBI
Right,
is doing their own investigation. They need something
agree.
like an independent body, like an internal affairs that isn't beholden to the director of the FBI who comes in and
Exactly. No, I
investigates
agree
these
with you on
things.
that.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree on that part. I think I agree with you about the inspector general thing. I think their net needs to be widened a little bit. And I think they need to be allowed to inspect on this kind of stuff with the FBI.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah. It's like working for the government has all sorts of perks. One of them is not that you get to avoid that pucker when you find out the IG's coming.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They need to have the fear of God.
So we have so much more show. We got to get through it. Well, we don't have to do anything, but we are going to get through some more of it. Let's see. New York police have disclosed that they're planning on using drones to monitor holiday parties this weekend. Does this seem familiar to you, Sora? Does this seem like something they would do in your part of Kanukistan?
Oh no, not really. But it's just funny. I don't know.
They did it.
Maybe you just don't know.
Not Europe.
It's a very Trudeau move, though.
Yeah.
Trudeau-esque.
During the lockdowns, they did this in my part of not Europe.
Excellent.
Absolutely. All right.
This is. I love this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel safe and happy and.
Aww.
Well, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you're here because we can talk about this now, Sora, because it's a Canadian thing. No human remains found 2 years after claims of mass graves in Canada.
Yourselves. I'm sorry.
Yeah. After
That's
2
it.
years of horror stories about the alleged mass graves of Indigenous children at residential
They hid the graves.
residential
They hid
schools
the graves.
across Canada, a series of recent excavations as suspected sites has turned up no human remains. Some academics and politicians say it's further evidence that the stories are unproven. Shemp, a group of indigenous people, also known as Pinecrest First Nation, excavated 14 sites in the basement of Our Lady of Seven Sorrows Catholic Church.
Of course they did.
Sorry, that's a great name. Near the Pine Creek Residential School in Manitoba during 4 weeks this summer. The so-called anomalies, which were first detected using ground-penetrating radar. Chief Derek Shemp of remote Pine Creek Indian Reserve said no remains were found. So yeah, they had major.
Wait.
Go.
It gets better because they did find what caused the anomalies.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
What?
Rocks.
Oh.
Hang on, so
boulders and rocks.
In the ground? Who'd have thunk it?
Penetrating radar found ground.
They found stones. Oh my God. This
Wait,
is so...
what? I make hundreds renting out one side of my bed, but hot bedding requires boundaries. What? What? She's living the dream, sleeping with folks and charging them per lay. Welcoming strangers into her bed every night has become a profitable practice for one sexy singleton
professional
who
cuddlers.
tucks, with a T, in an extra $600 a month by renting out the unoccupied side of her mattress where her ex-boyfriend once slept for 2 years. Her hot side hustle is part of the hot bedding trend.
Yeah.
Is this like the topless house cleaners?
I guess. Hey, if I want
That trend still exists?
if I want to sleep next to somebody who's going to ignore me, I'll see imaginary girlfriend. Okay, enough of that. Okay.
I'll get in bed with the ex-wife.
Apparently this is a story. Okay. Hot bedding sounds like a lot more fun than it actually is. This does not sound like a fun time to me.
No, it does not at all. Ugh. Nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just. I don't think you could have anything more creepy. And to be fair, she's not that hot. She's maybe a 4 if she's lucky.
I don't know. I just feel like this. If you were a serial killer, this would be like a good gig,
Or a serial, or a rapist, or something like that.
I mean, I'm talking about her.
During lockdown, Jeremiah's business went belly up, causing her to think outside the box when it came to earning money. Okay, I'm sure somebody's very pleased with themselves for that
Oh,
sentence.
there's a joke in there.
There's a couple jokes in there. Okay. Anyway, it's far too early for this type of saucy banter. Okay.
That's for after hours.
That's for the last article of the show.
That's when the what's that on the TV? It's the transmission changes.
Yeah.
After 12 a.m.
Strike Force 5. What happens when late night TV hosts make a podcast? So all of the late night TV hosts, because the writers are on strike, have decided to put together a podcast to raise money for the people who are on strike.
Did what's his face get fat?
Which one? John Oliver?
Yeah.
He looks festively plump there, doesn't he?
Did he just get?
It's probably because American food is so delicious.
It's amazing American food.
Yeah. You know, and the thing about Jimmy Fallon is he looks douchey at any size. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway, these people are all hacks, and I'm not going to pay any attention to this.
Top middle.
Seth Meyers, SNL alum, sort of like he's really bad at his job.
Who's Seth Meyers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair to call him incompetent.
Yeah, I think the Peter Principle doesn't even cover how he got elevated. I don't makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's ignore these idiots.
Hurry.
So, Walt Disney Pictures visual FX workers move to unionize. Now, normally I would just give you my hot take and how much I hate unions and stuff, but are you guys aware of what people who work at Disney call the company?
No.
Mauschwitz.
Something bad.
Mauschwitz.
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 Yeah.
And I could
interrupt very quickly.
It's all like a Japanese anime about the salaryman who works for the exploitative company, has to sleep under his desk and work very, very hard for not a lot of money. From what I've heard, this is not a great job. It's the thing that you think you want to do when you go to school, and then you get the job, and then you hate your life because the production schedules are terrible and the work is terrible, and it sounds a lot sexier than it is. So I'm sort of two minds on this. On the one hand, I hate unions. On the other hand, I hate Disney. So I hope these two destroy each other. Honestly,
yes.
Yeah.
I hope it's a match made in hell.
Yeah. And the writer's strike has been going on for weeks now, and honestly, I didn't even notice.
No.
I mean, my life
Who
has
cares?
been completely unaffected by the writer's strike happening.
Exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
Harry, can I interrupt very briefly?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, Kefki hoax.
Where is she?
In chat.
Didn't I send her the link?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, I sent you the link. You can join us if you want, Kefki. All right. So, I was going to talk to Functional about this, but he didn't make it tonight. But yeah, so even if the writers go back to work, we have this to look forward to. I imagine Walt Disney not being able to make any more Cape movies for a while. That sounds great. Wouldn't it be wild if suddenly their ability to do visual FX diminished to the point where they had to actually make movies again? Like with people doing things and practical effects?
Wow.
That would be great. Never
What if
happened.
What if they developed scripts with actual plots and character arcs that you cared about? And, not retconning stuff and having logical consistency and chronological consistency.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, I'm being silly, aren't I?
Well, speaking of logical consistency, we're entering another segment I'm calling Auto News, because when you look for auto news, you come here to the Saturday episode of the Minions.
We've shown you the wild videos on social media of people speeding off in stolen Kias and Hyundais. Now the manufacturers have agreed to pay a $200 million settlement to car owners who say some models are just too easy to steal. Tonight, Vespa has the price you pay.
just got my car back.
Tonight, millions of American car owners who say security took a back seat to profit, celebrating.
They basically decided to make cars that don't have any ignition immobilization in them so people could just steal the cars and hotwire them really easily. Now, that said,
thinking ahead.
That said, this, if there ever was a caveat emptor moment, this would be it. I don't know. I think probably it was just a PR thing that they agreed to pay this settlement because it made them look less. It was better for them to look slightly incompetent than sort of evil and uncaring, I guess. But in spite of this fact, you'd think, okay, well, this story is over. Well, no, it's actually not, because there's more people suing them.
We make light of this, but it does make you think, who is coming
Chicago
up with
mayor
this,
sues Hyundai Kia
Jenna
over
Caldwell
auto
talks
thefts
to political
instead of
analyst
punishing
out loud,
criminals.
Gianna Caldwell, great
Yep.
podcast host, great friend.
Right, can you pause
Gianna,
that
you can't
one
make
second?
Yes.
Right. Again, misspent youth. Okay, but it was possible to steal the old Mark I Escort, or break into the old Mark I Escort with half a tennis ball.
But I don't think that the increase in car thefts in Chicago is really due to the fact that it's too easy to steal Hyundais and Kias. The issue is that people don't think there's any downside to stealing cars.
No, absolutely. And Sora, in answer to your question, because there's about 3 around, right? Basically, all it was you put half a tennis ball over the lock on the door, pushed it in, and it popped the lock
Oh yeah,
out.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That
Okay.
was it. There was nothing sneaky about it. It was basically hit the tennis ball and it just it returned into its natural shape, basically popped the lock.
So Spud, I was doing a consulting gig where I was working on a security plan, and one aspect of it was physical security. This was for a customer. And they didn't have much in the way of physical security. So I actually purchased a set of what are called bump keys off of off of eBay. And with a bump key and just a little bit of technique, essentially you can just sort of tap on the key and it will open a lock that takes that key. It's a really easy technique. And so they weren't paying attention to me, so I got these bump keys and then I demonstrated how good their security was.
And I take it was rubbish. I've never heard of bump keys.
Yeah, that's one for you to look up. Bump keys are fun.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think
you don't watch enough locksmith channels.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
They did not have very good lock serenity. It was not hard.
The county sheriff here in where I live, because everybody knows each other. County sheriff around here has bump keys to get in case.
What do you mean master keys?
No. He also has bump keys.
Oh, he does?
In case someone changes the locks, because there's renters around here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works.
So this way, if they try to change the lock, he can get in.
It is a master key. It's a master key.
Yeah, the bump key is the master key.
But I've seen him use it before because my grandmother, before she moved somewhere else, he needed to get in the house and she had lost the keys and I didn't have a spare because she hadn't given me a spare yet.
Yeah.
And I saw him use it once. It's a very interesting thing to watch, especially when that sheriff was like in his 40s then.
Well, Chicago is stupid, and I wanted to actually have some fun. So I thought about this, and I thought, well, while we're talking about cars, some cars have incredibly stupid names. Oh, Kefki is backstage. Hi, Kefki.
Hello.
We were just about to talk about the 31 most ridiculous car names. Are you on board for this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've intentionally not looked at all of these because I wanted to enjoy it as much as you have. So the 31 most ridiculous car names ever. The Nissan Friend Me.
Why do I feel like that's the Japan or Korean version?
Yeah, this was at the 2013 Frankfurt Motor Show. Nissan added a new entry into the big book of bizarre car names, the Friend Me. With its social network-inspired interior and specification, the concept vehicle previewed Nissan's vision of the future. There's the Mazda Bongo Friendy. Okay.
Yep, I remember the Bongo Friendy.
Once you realize that the vehicle bearing this name, at least in the UK, a camper van, its ludicrous naming begins to make sense. Bongo drums around the campfire, making new friends, that kind of thing. There's the Daihatsu Naked. Let's see, I should probably make these larger. Let's make that larger. Okay. No. And then I like this one, the Mitsubishi Charisma. Carisma. Charisma.
God.
That's funny. That's cute. I like that one.
The tragically named Hyundai Trajet.
I think it's French, isn't it? I think maybe the one they released in France.
I don't know. And of course,
Gaylord.
this
Gaylord,
vintage car, the Gaylord Gladiator.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there was the Dodge Dart Swinger Edition. That's always good. Gonna get some action in this car. Yeah, baby. This is probably close to what Jerry Brown Jr. used when he would pick up Linda Ronstadt, right, Skep?
Yeah, exactly. Back in the day.
I think it was he driving a Fury or a Dart? I can't remember.
Oh no, he drove a Fury is what I remember.
Yeah, same general crappy car.
Yeah.
See, the Vauxhall Atom, that's just a stupid name. The Studebaker Dictator.
Dictator. I love the Studebaker Dictator. I love that one.
That looks like a good one. Of course.
I love the car.
I love that car because it looks like Borat would ride in the back of it. Not Borat, the
looks
Dictator.
like a Dictator would ride in it.
It does. Except it needs to be black. The AMC Gremlin.
Gremlin.
Gotta love the
See,
Gremlin.
The Gremlin, I don't think it's a silly name.
How about the Great Wall Wingle? It's a Chinese truck. The Great Wall Wingle.
Of course it is.
Right.
How about the Mazda Titan Dump?
Oh, cool. Are these the tiny mini trucks?
Yes,
Are these
that one,
really
except that
small
one has the
Titan
bed
Dump.
that can go two different ways.
Because
Yeah.
they're around here. They have these. I see. There's a couple that I've seen running around here, like imports.
Yeah.
You drive on the
Same down
opposite
here.
side. They're so cute.
There's several different versions of the Mazda Titan Dump. I don't think Japan sells. It's one of the newer ones. I think they don't sell it to the States, but the older ones, I know the ones you're talking about that are made by Mitsubishi and Honda, they do sell.
Yeah,
to
they're
the States.
it's like the tiny one. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Cannibalistic Wizard is mentioning my aunt has a friend who's like 86. Her friend, not my aunt, whose name is Gay. Yeah, Gay was a proper name. People used to have that name.
Yep.
In Gary Anderson's series UFO, Gay.
Yep.
Was her Gay something? I can't remember her name. One of the characters' names was Gay, and that was 1970. Cannot remember the
What was the name of it
actor's
again here?
name. Gay, the actor?
The show you're talking about.
UFO. Highly recommended, by the way. I love that show. I love that show way more than is healthy.
Gay Ellis, played by Gabrielle Drake.
Gabrielle Drake, of course. Yes.
idea.
Gabrielle Drake. Okay, Ford Probe. I mean, really.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it looks like a probe. If you actually look at it straight on, it looks like a probe.
Yeah. Mitsubishi
Alien
Minica
probe.
Lettuce. Well, lettuce is just a
That's
stupid name
cute.
for Mitsubishi
like that.
Minica Winky. Okay.
What was the probe?
Yeah. Yeah. And the Isuzu Mysterious Utility Wizard. the Mitsubishi Topo Guppy.
That's a Japanese one.
Yeah.
Those ones are fun. Oh God.
The Toyota Deli
Toyota
Boy.
Deli Boy. Oh Jesus.
Oh good God.
Oh God. Ow.
Okay.
I do like that one.
The
That's good.
Tarpan Honker. Polish
Good.
military
I like that.
off-roader.
That one's not too bad. That one's not too bad.
Oh yeah, the Chevrolet Celebrity. Yeah, that's yeah, no, not a great car, honestly. Proton
Oh, I like this
Putra. Ugh,
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Putra. That's not
and it's
good.
the right
I like the
color.
color.
for
Okay, now the
Putra.
Subaru Brat was not just a poorly named car. It was. It's
The design doesn't look great.
it's like
that's a
somebody looked at
sauerkraut.
the Chevy El Camino and said maybe it could go off road and be slightly smaller. You know, that's
Right.
And the
Small
Baja.
the
Don't forget
wheels
the
are
Baja.
though.
yeah. It's. I mean, I love Subaru. Don't get me wrong. I love Subaru, but the Brat is just not a great. was not a
It
great
doesn't,
car.
like,
The greatest
I don't. I
rally
think it was either
cars of
Sora or
all
Kefki
time.
who brought up the tires. Those tires couldn't do crap off road.
No. Well, you could
Yeah.
have traction, but no clearance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you need clearance.
Yeah. Oh, the Austin Princess. It looks very regal, doesn't it?
And the princess challenges you to find a better car in its class.
Princess
It's in New
class.
Zealand. It's in
Yeah.
New Zealand. That's the reason why.
That's not great.
No, it was also
The Mazda Laputa. Laputa.
Laputa, yeah.
Hang on,
Laputa.
isn't Laputa a
Yeah.
Yeah.
repute?
Yep.
This one isn't bad. Calling something a radius. That's rodius. No, that's terrible. I thought it said radius. I'm all for that rodius.
Song Young Rodi. That's a
Rodius is the
Also,
name that
it's
gets
a
you
pretty
beat up in
weird
school.
looking car.
You're gonna get
the Morris
hazed.
Isis. I love this car.
Oh,
I
this
love
is
the Morris.
fine.
I have no
Why?
problem with the Morris Isis, or
Yeah.
honestly,
No,
the
that's cool,
Triumph
that's fine.
Mayflower. It's a stupid
Also,
looking
this is
car,
fine for
but
me.
that's fine.
Let me tell you
The
about
name is
that
fine.
Morris.
Uh-oh.
We actually had a
Morris.
Morris Minor when we lived in Belgium.
Nice.
This was in 19. It was a 40. I'm going to say a 48 Morris Minor or 47 Morris Minor, and this thing was great. It had no front passenger seat. Only the front driver's seat was there. Front passenger seat was missing, and it had a hole in the floorboard. So when my dad would take me to go get my haircut, I was a little kid. I was in like third grade. I would have to sit in the back seat. There were no seat belts back then. Seat belts didn't exist. They hadn't even been invented.
Yeah, those are for the weak.
Yeah. So yeah, he would take me all over the Belgian countryside in this Morris Minor that had holes in the floorboard that you could actually see the pavement go by as we drove down.
Nice.
He finally
Nice.
put a piece of plywood over that.
Yeah,
And
it's like a Flintstone car.
yeah, exactly. It really was like a Flintstone car, and it had like a 3-cylinder, a weird little 3-cylinder motor in it or something.
Yeah. I almost want to mispronounce Thames just to antagonize Spud Gun, but no. My dad had, when he was dating my mom. My dad, by the way, was 6'4", and my mom was 4'10", and he barely fit in this car. Imagine a 6'4" guy in an Austin Healey Sprite.
I know. I've been in Austin.
And but he had similarly where my mom would sit. There was the floor in the the bottom of the car where you could see the road as you drove by.
The car we had before the Morris was an Austin American. I kid you not. We had cool cars. You got to admit, Harry.
The thing is, there's nothing wrong with the Austin Isis as Morris Isis, sorry, as a car name. It's only because of the modern iteration of.
Yeah, I see. I didn't even think about the terrace angle until I read the description
Yeah.
of why they called it bad. Like, oh, it's like, it's nothing terracey about it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
ISIL. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I have another one for you.
All
one
right.
for you. It's 8 cars that share their names with condoms.
Do it.
Okay.
Good God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good image. I like it.
So there's the Ramses, the Egyptian Champrins, the Ramses. It's a little shitty car. The Trojan. There's the Trojan
Well,
on
yeah.
the left.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was
nice.
saying you're gonna make him
Okay.
Very nice.
Magnum.
Yep.
Dodge Magnum, often
Dodge
good.
Magnum.
Avanti. Okay. Fitting because this is the sexiest Studebaker. Okay, cool. The Sphinx.
Ooh, I like that car. Very nice.
Yeah.
The car is very nice.
Very classy. Oh, this was one of those. This is one of those old timey sheepskin things that you'd have to like
Yeah.
relubricate or something. Oh yeah, this gave you no protection from disease.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I just say as well, Assassin in the chat?
Yeah.
The Ford Capri is one of the greatest cars ever made.
The Capri had a Cosworth version. If you could get that one, it was a great car. Can you imagine a Capri with a Cosworth twin overhead cam engine with 4 valves per cylinder when that thing came out.
That's
one of the best
overpowered.
sleeper cars ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a lot of power in that little car.
Yeah.
That would make that into almost be like driving a Maserati,
Yeah.
like a
So
pocket Maserati.
We've got Crown 1 and
Koenigsegg.
Atlas.
Wait. There's a joke to be made. Go back up to the Koenigsegg.
Well,
That one.
So we'll stop missing the
To the-
joke.
The Koenigsegg 1.
Well, Koenigsegg's are some of the fastest cars in the world. So I don't know why you need a condom if it goes that fast.
Yeah. Well, okay, one more condom thing. Okay. And there's an Urban Dictionary definition for condom car, which I thought was kind of funny, which is a car with so little value or such complex repairs that you drive it until it breaks and throw it away.
Yep. there's some Koenigsegg's, they're earlier ones that are kind of like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it fits.
Condom car.
Condom car.
Okay. Let's see. Well, we can skip that.
I thought a condom car was a car you bought from a used car guy, and you realized that you'd been had.
Yeah.
No, that one.
Have a
That
lemon.
one's, that's a catfish car or
Yeah.
a lemon car.
Just the guy had figured he'd condom out of his money.
Oh.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay, we have
There's the joke there's a dad joke hiding in there.
Okay, we have three racy stories, but we are so out of time. So I will give you guys your choice of which one you want. Okay, the first story is woman behind infamous acrobatic horse show fiasco arrested for hiring hit people against her husband.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, that one.
outrage over alleged Beria townhome strip club, and what is vabbing, and does it really work?
Okay, we're not doing the. I'm voting for the middle one personally.
You're voting for not vabbing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want horse fiasco.
You want horse
horse
fiasco? Okay.
Horse fiasco also.
All right. Let's see. So
Also, chat, don't Google vabbing. Don't do it.
definitely Google
A
it.
woman is behind bars accused of hiring a hitman to murder her estranged
yeah, I've
husband.
seen that.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
And I'm Anna Laurel. Jesse and Marcella are off.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't the first
Have a nice
time
night
that
off.
a county woman has made local headlines.
That hair is
CBS 8's
amazing.
Richard Allen is here now with more on this really disturbing story, Richard.
And Carlo and Anna, Tatiana Remley has
There she
lived
is on
a
the
life
right.
of
Doesn't she look
luxury
nice?
In Del Mar, filled with multi-million-dollar homes, prize horses, and sports cars.
She looks like
it's
a
a far
psycho.
cry from her current residence at Las Colinas Detention Facility.
You think? No, I have to say that as a proper adult male, when I see a woman like that standing next to a horse, I'm just like, oh, that's on the list of things I can't afford. You know, it's like looking at a
Did he say
mega
Las
yacht.
Colinas?
You know, I just know
Did he
that's
say
just
Las-
not going to happen.
Did he say Las Colinas?
I believe so. Southern California, San Diego County.
San Diego. Okay.
Yeah.
San Diego, Las Colinas. It's not Dallas.
Green Badger,
Las
don't do
Colinas.
it.
So they
Don't do it, Green Badger, don't do it.
basically this lovely woman here had a very bitter divorce in the works with her husband, and it looks a lot like she may have burned down his house.
She didn't do worse than that.
Yeah, and she tried to get a friend of hers, a mutual friend of theirs, to basically to kill the guy for $2 million. That didn't go over particularly well. Yeah, she's 42 years old. She was arrested in a sting operation at a Solana Beach Starbucks early in August, about a month after her husband, Mark Remley, discovered she'd offered a mutual friend $2 million to kill him. Yeah. So basically, she met somebody at a Starbucks who was an undercover cop and got busted for trying to kill her husband off. But yeah, she's not what I would call low maintenance.
She stood like a psycho. Like
Horse girls are all crazy.
Okay,
You're not
I
wrong.
resemble that. Thank you.
Well, it depends on whether it's English or Western.
I know what you're talking about.
No, English or Western. That's the difference.
Serenity. You know, crazy horse people too. There are
Yeah.
some
Oh, yeah.
crazy horse girls.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah.
There's some knotheads out there.
I know some buckle bunnies that could take chrome off tailpipe.
Yeah. Oh, buckle bunnies. Oh God. Okay, never mind. Don't get distracted here.
We're not.
Okay, so so this nice lady basically decided that things weren't going the way she wanted them to. So the expedient thing to do is just kill her husband and take all of his money.
As As you do.
Yeah. Well, after they got married about 10 years ago, it was about a year afterward, they wanted to put on some huge horse acrobatic show. And a bunch of people spent a bunch of money on tickets and, tried to go to this thing, but the ticket sales weren't what they thought they would be. So they just sort of didn't bother to have it. They left a whole bunch of people just out in the cold. They just said, nah, fuck it. Not enough people showing up. We'll just not have this horse show. So it was a bit of a fiasco. I think initially these two really deserved each other, but since they're probably both relatively terrible people, things ended about the way you would expect they would end.
It's very War of the Roses feel.
But I want to show you this townhome strip club thing. So a townhome is basically connected. It's like a 2-story apartment pretty much, and it's connected to all the other things. So imagine you're living in a densely populated area in a townhome and this happens. This is in San Jose, by the way.
Walks like a duck, it's a duck. It's a strip club.
That's what some people in San Jose say has taken over their quiet neighborhood, and only the ABC 7 News I-team has the story tonight. Good evening, I'm Karina Nova.
And I'm Larry Beal. Thanks for joining us. Neighbors say
we
loud
don't care.
parties every weekend. It's been going on for months, despite endless calls to 311, 911, code enforcement, and more. And
Yes, the city of San Jose is doing absolutely nothing about this. These people have basically opened up a strip club. And so how do you know it's a strip club? Well, they went through and looked at the trash. No.
Andy Benzinger is laughing because he believes he now knows what was being built. Residents provided the ABC 7 News I-team with pictures of empty exercise and...
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
They just threw it away in the dumpsters for the complex.
That's how. Okay, because of just the audacity.
Yeah.
I have an assumption of a skin tone of people.
I don't know. I don't know. I think the only color here that matters is green.
Oh, I know, but the audacity I'm
Once
talking.
construction stopped, the music started.
It's not Mozart. It's strip club music.
Neighbors say they found video from inside the parties by clicking on a map within the Snapchat app. All of these videos
I have a
most
funny
of them
story like
too
this.
explicit to show here.
Thick, thirsty Thursdays.
Do you have something?
Wow.
So now, of course, this does raise a number of questions. If they're renting, how is this possible? And if they're in a townhouse, they'd normally be in a homeowners association. So how is this possible? My sister actually became the president of her HOA just to deal with some pornographers that were screwing things up. And they were way more discreet than this. Having just people show up, with lights and gear and stuff is not that big a deal. It's just they're taking up a lot of parking on the street. It's not that big a deal. But if there are noise calls being put out at almost 6 a.m. because these people are running an all-night strip club, that's a problem. Go, Sora.
So my godparents who live in Bucharest, they had this was a couple of years ago, so pre-pandemic, just before the pandemic, and they would hear like interesting music through like the pipes and stuff from the flat above them, and it was like, okay, those a little bit like kind of sounding music, but there was no real disturbance. But then they would hear, when the windows were open, they would hear like breathy noises, okay? And now you can't hear through the walls, so you need a connector like your sink or the windows to be open, or you're out on the balcony and the door's open, because otherwise the floor, like a solid floor, and the walls, they're very thick there, so you can't really hear through. It turns out that the flat above them was rented out to a sex phone line.
Nice.
So they had about 10 girls that were set up on desks and stuff and playing these like really shitty, like Eurotrash kind of background music while they moaned over the phone.
Nice.
It lasted for about 6 to 8 months or so before the neighbors all got sick and tired and booted them out. but like they were very polite and everything. It was just it got annoying with some of the noise and stuff, so they kicked them out, and then they got replaced by some sort of computer company. But they would hear, like, they didn't understand what was going on, like the weird noises from upstairs.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly illegal, but it wasn't like
it wasn't
legal,
the best
legal. You know, like it was just a borderline of what you could do. So
Yeah. Well, this is illegal, this thing, because I mean, based on like code enforcement, you cannot open an all-night nightclub in your condominium or in your townhouse, because just starting with the alcohol problem, right? You've got a bunch of people in there drinking well after the alcohol cutoff.
Well, how did they just say it's part of the amenities? You know, the sheriff.
Yeah, it's not Wisconsin where you can just, they call last call and they give you like a big gulp and fill it full of whatever it is you're drinking in, and you can nurse it until you want to leave. They don't pull drinks in Wisconsin. Here in California, this is like a big deal. And then there's just all the code stuff. You can't run a nightclub in your house. You just can't. But the police aren't doing anything about it. The sheriff's not doing anything about it. Code enforcement's not doing anything about it. ABC, Alcohol Beverage Control, is not doing anything about it. Which makes me wonder, why in the hell are they turning a blind eye to this? Something that's such an obvious violation that's annoying so many people.
I feel bad for the people who have kids in that townhome complex.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's like we can afford a townhome, so we don't have to live in an apartment building. This is better. We can't afford a home yet, but this is better than living in an apartment. And then this crap happens. It's like, at that point, I would just start annoying the cops. I would buy a burner phone.
They've been calling 911 and 311 and all the 11s, trying to get somebody to do something about it.
Just fucking keep doing it. I'm just.
Well, at some point, the city just gets sued. You know, at some point, the city's just going to get sued.
Oh, yeah. And they need to.
For not doing their damn job.
Yeah. Well, it's like, someone has to have been doing a business. Like, the people who do this kind of crap are intelligent enough to pull it off, but they're never intelligent enough not to self-snitch.
They're selling alcohol without a license after last call. That's like a $10,000 fine even with a license per violation. There's got to be something about these people that makes them immune.
Yeah. I have a theory, and I've already stated my theory, but anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm there with you, but I can neither confirm nor deny. Yeah.
Well, the one guy said the guy who's running it called himself Fresh. It's like, that tells you. But it's one of those things where it's kind of like, if no one's doing anything, at that point, I'd go psycho hillbilly on them. And just start doing stuff to scare their patrons away.
Yeah, well,
just
there you go.
At the mouth. What you doing here, people? Just start walking around, start dead rats a few places.
Is there anything? Is there anything else that we need to see before we can go?
California is ready for serenity.
I would drive some people insane. But that's
let's see, Nikki Haley, an otter thing. We can ignore that.
Well.
Was Kefki here when you showed otter stuff?
We didn't have otter stuff. We had bees.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's okay. Just make sure.
Yeah.
All the bees.
Kefki's still there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, this is terribly
picture,
degenerate. Somebody like you should not have to deal with all this degeneracy. So we'll wrap this up fairly quickly. Let's see, California. I don't think there's anything else here that the world is going to suffer if I don't cover it. As much as, let's see, I have lamest video ever. Now we can skip that. There's these young ladies having a brawl in the Port-a-Potty line. That's always fun.
Another thing involving that boy.
Yeah, look at these white girls going at it.
They're white trash. That's the reason why they're at a Morgan Wallen
exactly.
concert.
What is this?
They're drunk and they're getting in a fight at the Port-a-Potty.
I have to say, of all the things a girl can do, getting in a fight inside a Port-a-Potty is pretty far down on the list. Yeah. Don't care.
I can honestly say I have been to enough rodeos and enough other things. This is not the first time I've seen a fight in a Port-a-Potty.
All right.
Not
well,
usually girls.
I'm
It's
just
usually
very, I'm just very
Young
innocent.
men
What do I
should-
know?
Young men should have to watch that video of those girls.
Yes.
You know, you got to understand that women can be just as crude and disgusting as men. In many ways, much worse. Much worse.
Women are worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those things that could depend on the person. I think the capability of anyone being bad, but women can be just as bad as the
They
most
absolutely
disgusting
can.
person, you know.
They
Right.
have no automatic thing where they're always perfect and good. That's just,
Oh yeah, and anyone who thinks that needs to get a reality check.
right. Exactly right.
Oh yeah. Oh, there is one thing. I just want to mention this because you know how we're outraged about stuff. The thing with the vet that got killed. This irritates me too. It's obviously not as bad a thing. Violent criminal randomly shoves 66-year-old New York City violinist, breaking her wrist and potentially derailing her career. You know, I'd say that her wrist being broken in 10 spots pretty much takes care of her career at age 66. And this guy has been in and out of jail, including violent crimes. And you know, they tried to get $100,000 bail.
No, isn't he the real victim?
I don't know. He looks
Really?
like a victim. There he is on the left. There he is on the left.
Doesn't he offer a lot more to society than some fiddle player?
They let this guy out, even though he's jumped bail a couple times and failed to appear. They let him out with no bail.
They don't care.
They clearly don't care.
There's
They
Castle,
really don't.
There's New York now. They passed a law. I think it was either middle of last year or the middle of the year before. They basically passed a law saying all bail had to be cashless.
This is a violent crime, and he's a repeat offender. I think bail is the least they can do to this guy.
Yeah.
They got to give him the B treatment and just, painter's tape him to a desk and, yeah. I don't know. I'm getting tired. I'm starting to not make any sense. Anyway.
Okay.
Hi, Kefki. Do you have anything you want to share before we take off?
No.
No.
Hello.
All right. Well, hi, Kefki.
Sorry.
Well, this has been
Hi.
your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel.
Not all libertarians are crazy.
Thank you, chat. The zoo is closed. Good night.
Good
Night. All Virginians are.